Where is it? Do you have any idea how close that was to being right here? Colorado's the same exact team we saw last year. There's zero difference, none. They've got an elite talent at quarterback. They've got two really good wide receivers. They've got one of the best players on the planet. And they've got one elite secondary player. You know what else they have? A defense that can't stop a nosebleed. Stop me if this sounds familiar. A defense that can't stop a nosebleed on the ground or through the air. Zero running game at all, period. To the point where they don't even try. One of the worst offensive lines in the country, period, bar none. And one of the worst coaching staffs probably that I've ever seen. The only thing I'll say about the coaching staff is I'm not sure if the coaching staff is really as piss poor as it seems, or if they're operating from a top-down thing where it's kind of that's what they have to do because, well, Deion's telling them to do it. I don't know. They definitely have the worst head coach on the planet by any metric. Recruiting, talent acquisition, game planning, preparation, development, whatever. They are not a good team at all. At all. I feel bad for Shedeur Sanders. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's unbelievable to watch. And besides just the raw talent that he has, he's one of the toughest players in all of college football because he gets just absolutely destroyed over half the time that he drops back to throw the ball. Now, he only got sacked one time yesterday. That by no means is a credit to Colorado's offensive line. It's a credit to Shedeur for making people miss, running around, scrambling. Now, he doesn't like to take off running. He do it on occasion, but when he scrambles, he's looking to throw the ball, which I like. I like that. I don't have anything bad to say about Shedeur Sanders. The kid is unbelievable. I hope he makes it through the season because I love watching great players play college football. We got robbed of that last year when it came to Travis Hunter. More on that in a minute. Travis Hunter played 115 of the 116 snaps in yesterday's game. More on that in a minute. I hope Shedeur makes it through the season because I honestly don't care whether Colorado's 12-0 or 0-12. I'll watch Colorado play just to see Shedeur Sanders. He's unbelievable. And while lots of quarterbacks are talented and good and all, he's so tough. He's got elite, upper-level NFL echelon talent with the heart, drive, motivation, and determination of a guy like Cam Rising, right? I love Cam Rising. I don't want this to come off as a knock on Cam Rising, but if you just stacked up college quarterbacks in order of talent, you'd have to go a ways down the list before you got to Cam Rising. That doesn't mean Cam Rising's not good and doesn't win a bunch of games. He does, but he is one of the toughest, fiercest competitors in all of college football. Shedeur is that with the talent of a Heisman Trophy candidate. How good he is, considering the offensive line he has, is unbelievable. How many times do we have to watch this guy get bent in half like a Big Lots lawn chair, but still put the throw right on the money? And is he perfect? No, but he's a hell of a quarterback. They've got two great wide receivers, Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, I could talk for an hour about Travis Hunter. Unbelievable talent, how good he is on both sides of the ball. Jimmy Horn, NFL player right now. Jimmy Horn is an NFL player today with a Colorado helmet on. Unbelievable. Unreal. But this ain't pickup basketball at the Y. Okay? 3 people don't make a football team. And unfortunately for those three people, that's all Colorado has. They are horrific. Their defensive line is bad. The linebackers are bad. The secondary outside of Travis Hunter doesn't exist. Their offensive line, I'm not kidding you, is one of the worst I've ever seen. Their running backs may or may not be good. I don't know. And honestly, it doesn't matter because they don't use them. It's a stat padding deal. It's all it is. It's a Colorado's main focus is to stat pad for Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. And luckily for Jimmy Horn, he gets in on the action every once in a while accidentally because he's a hell of a receiver too. But Colorado is a terrible team, and they looked bad against an FCS team. And look, the Deion stands aren't going to understand this because they don't understand anything at all about college football. They're not college football fans. 2 years ago, they couldn't have found Colorado on a map if you gave them a telescope, a GPS, in 2 hours' time. They're just Deion stands. So they don't understand anything about college football. So they look at this North Dakota State team and they go, well, North Dakota State wins a bunch of games, so this is a good win for Colorado. They're an FCS team. That's the smallest team you will play all year. That's the most undersized team you will play all year. And they absolutely dominated you in the trenches on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Colorado ran for 2 yards a carry. 2 yards per carry against an FCS team. Why are we surprised? It's a totally new offensive line. All 5 starting offensive linemen are different from last year. You cannot go out and just the portal thing is, I mean, I don't know how many different ways to explain it. You have got to build your team from the inside out, lines of scrimmage out, and from high school recruiting out to the portal. The base of the team has got to be high school recruiting. Deion Sanders has yet to perform a single in-house visit when it comes to high school recruiting. Not one. 50, 60 new players on the team this year via the transfer portal, just like last year. The results are going to be the same. Now, Colorado's record may or may not be the same as last year, a game or two better or a game or two worse or whatever. You play a different schedule every year. So I'm not even talking about their record. I'm just talking about Colorado, the team. They're the same team they were last year. There is no difference. They're not any better. They're not any worse. They're the exact same team. Last year, we knew Shedeur Sanders was really good, and so was Travis Hunter, and they had Xavier, what's his name, at wide receiver. That was really good. So they had Shedeur, 2 really good wide receivers, and Travis Hunter. Everything else on the team last year was complete and utter garbage. This year, they've got Shedeur Sanders at QB, 2 great wide receivers, and Travis Hunter. Everything else is complete and utter garbage. They gave up 450-something yards to an FCS team. 450. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I say they're the same team as they were last year. They looked better against TCU last year than they looked yesterday against North Dakota State. So I don't know. But they've got major, major issues that just can't be fixed. A lot of it is philosophical. It's Deion's sort of mentality about how college football should be, and it's just not going to work. That can't be fixed. The offensive line is what it is. Something like the top 7 offensive linemen on Colorado didn't even play for Colorado last year. Look, an offensive line is made up of 5 people. That's true, but they have to play as one. And that's learned over time. You cannot just go out and say, well, this guy's kind of good at this school and that guy was okay at that school and this guy here and that guy there. So go get those 5, put them on your offensive line and expect to have an offensive line. It's just not the way it works. This is not pickup basketball at the Y. Okay? You can have 2 really, really good basketball players. They can go to their local Y or street court or whatever for a pickup basketball game. Those 2 really, really good players can pick the worst 3 players on the court as teammates. And that team can beat anybody else because they've got the 2 best players on the basketball court at the Y. Big-time college football ain't the fucking Y. Football is the ultimate team sport, and Colorado doesn't have a team. They've got 3 or 4 extremely talented players, and everyone else is terrible. And in a lot of cases, it's not even their fault. It's not even their fault. The offensive line is put in an unwinnable situation. You're cobbling together an offensive line and then starting it over every single year. It's just never going to work. Depth is going to be an issue again for Colorado as the season goes along. You saw it yesterday. One of what was supposed to be their better defensive players up front had to leave the game early, and the guy they put in after that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Nor did the rest of the defense, by the way. How many times did that North Dakota State quarterback drop back one or two steps and then just quarterback draw right up the middle? And there was just nobody there over and over and over and over and over again. It's hard to explain to people who don't understand college football how bad Colorado is. And unfortunately, the people that need to hear it are the people that don't understand college football because, like I said, they're not college football fans. They weren't college football fans 2 years ago. They weren't Colorado fans 2 years ago. They didn't even know what Colorado was 2 years ago. They're just Deion stands. They're like groupies. They're like people that used to follow around the beat. They're like Swifties. Deion fans are like the Swifties of college football. You can't tell them anything. They follow him around like it's just weird. Colorado's not any good. Deion's a terrible head coach, and this team is not going to be any good. And I feel bad for Shedeur. Travis Hunter, 115 out of 116 plays, he was on the field. Didn't y'all do this last year? And what happened? You know, Travis Hunter was gone halfway through the season. Now, it's true an injury can happen to anybody on any play, regardless of how many snaps you play, but Jesus Christ. 115, 116 snaps a game is not likely to hold up. And I hate that because Travis Hunter is the best player in the country, period, bar none. And I don't even know who second is. And y'all can argue over that all you want in the comment section. There ain't nobody better than Travis Hunter. The guy's unbelievable. And I hope he gets lucky and makes it through the season because I'm selfish and I like to watch great football players play great football. So I want to see Travis Hunter play. And there's two reasons why he played 115 out of 116 snaps. Number one, stat padding. Deion's only goal at Colorado is to get Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders drafted as highly as possible. That's it. He doesn't have a win total goal. He doesn't have a goal of winning a conference or making a playoff or putting together a great team or building a great recruiting class. None of those goals appear on Deion Sanders' list of things to do. It's how can I get Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter drafted as highly as possible? Well, let's go out and pad their stats against an FCS team. So that's why he played that number of snaps. That's the first reason. The second reason, though, he had to. If he'd have played 15 less snaps than he did, Colorado would have lost the damn game. That's how bad Colorado is. You're playing an FCS team, and your starters had to play to the very end because you're not any good. You're not any good. The end of the game, a minute and a half to go, Colorado's up by 4. Again, the Deion people are not going to understand this because they don't know anything about football. They're just Deion stands. But to those of you that do know football, a minute and a half to go in the game. Colorado's got the ball. They're up by 4. North Dakota State's got one timeout. What do you do? What do you do? You don't have to be a coach making $10 million a year. What do? You run the ball. You run the ball, bleed clock, force North Dakota State to use their last timeout. And if you get one first down, the game's over. What does Colorado do? 1st and 10. Deep in their own territory. A minute and a half to go. North Dakota State, one timeout. All you got to do is run the ball and get one first down and the game's over. What does Colorado do? They throw a 70-yard bomb down the sideline. Incomplete. Why? Why'd they do that? Stat padding. Stat padding. That's it. Deion didn't give a fuck whether they won or lost that game. He wanted Shedeur to get to 500 yards passing instead of 440. Or whatever it was. Of course, the ball falls incomplete. Stops the clock. Colorado doesn't do shit on the next 2 plays. North Dakota State didn't have to use their timeout on that first down because an incomplete pass stops the clock. North Dakota State gets the ball back with a chance to win the game. Now, they didn't. But that's not because Colorado made the right decisions. The result doesn't justify the action. The result does not justify the action. Terrible coaching. You're out to pat stat. You're not out to win. You're not out to do what's best for the team. You're out to do what's best for Shedeur and Travis Hunter and whatever else. 4th and 1. Again, game on the line. You go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory, you don't get it. You can't gain a fucking yard, not one, against an FCS team. I'm not here to shit on North Dakota State, okay? When it comes to the FBS, they're a great program. In fact, they're probably the best FCS program over the last 15 years. But they didn't win it all last year. They've got a brand new coaching staff. Their top running back from last year is gone. They're replacing 3 of their offensive linemen. And they nearly beat you. They nearly beat you. 24-20. You give them the ball back inside their own 10-yard line. You let them get all the way down to the 40 or whatever it is, and they actually completed a pass on the last play of the game at the 4-yard line. If the quarterback had the ability for North Dakota State to throw the ball 5 more yards, Colorado loses that game. Basically, it was a Hail Mary at the end of the game. The quarterback gave it all he had. He just didn't have the arm. Ball came down at the 4-yard line. North Dakota State player catches the ball. If he catches that ball 4 yards further downfield, it's a touchdown as time expires, and Colorado's got tucked their tail between their legs. And Deion's out banning more reporters again. Instead, he comes into the post-game press conference room and brags for an hour and a half about Shedeur Sanders. They asked him about the running game, and he was like, what running game? Shedeur had 450 yards passing. I'm going to sleep just fine. That's great. That's amazing. Did I mention Shedeur had 445 yards passing? Running game will be fine. We have to take what they give us. Take what they give you. Against an FCS team, you average 2 yards per carry. Colorado only ran the ball 8 times the entire first half. The entire first half. They had 8 rushing attempts. That's not taking what the opponent gives you. That's not going out, running the ball consistently, figuring out you're struggling, so then changing the game plan. That was the game plan. The leading rusher had something like 9 carries and 20 yards was Colorado's leading rusher. This team's horrific. Nebraska's going to beat the soul out of them next week. You can't handle North Dakota State's lines of scrimmage? Wait till you get to Lincoln next week. Or is that a home game? What does it matter? They could play on the moon. Nebraska's offense is garbage. At least it was last year. I think it'll be a little improved this year. Dylan Raiola's the true freshman quarterback's better than anybody they had last year. Defense wasn't their issue, though. You got to have your hands full with every single Power 5 opponent you play. Hell, forget the Power 5. You'd have your hands full with any FBS team you played. Again, I know the Deion fans don't even understand the difference. Yeah, the FBS is there's 134 teams in the FBS. It's what we used to call Division I. That's your power conferences, Big 12, ACC, Big 10, SEC. But then that includes the Group of 5 schools too. South Florida, Tulane, Memphis, Boise State, Coastal Carolina, those teams. The Group of 5 is considered a step below the Power 4, which is what you're in, Colorado. The FCS is below the Group of 5. You're going to have your hands full with anybody that has a legitimate roster, FBS roster. Absolutely embarrassing by Colorado. And again, you run out of things. It's the same thing as last year. The only goal they have revolves around Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and padding their stats and getting them to the NFL. And the thing is, they don't even need to do that. Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders could stop playing college football right now. They'd both be top 10 picks next year in the NFL draft. So they don't even have to do it. It's an ego thing for Deion. It's just an ego thing for Deion. Colorado's a terrible team. They're the same team they were last year. Their lines of scrimmage don't even exist. Their running game doesn't exist. Their defense is absolutely horrendous. I cannot believe y'all gave up almost 500 yards to an FCS team. That is embarrassingly bad. I can't begin to tell you how bad that is. Oh well, same old Colorado. Georgia versus Clemson hype and hate video will be up later this afternoon, so make sure you check that out. No live streams tonight, but I'll be on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the college kickoff show. Come hang out with us. Get your day started right here on the channel with the college kickoff show. We'll get you set for all today's games. All right, appreciate you watching. Have a good morning.